Hi, my name is Timothy Mitchell with Mimaki USA. And I want to take a moment to explain to you the many ways that you can utilize layer printing with our white layer printers, especially our roll-to-roll printers. Now I'm standing in front of what I think is our flagship layer printing roll-to-roll printer, and that is the UCJV330 160. Okay, in my opinion, this is an absolutely remarkable printer, and I want to show you real quickly all the things you can do with layers on this printer. Now, I want to begin with using white ink to print just white. Now, one of the key elements of printing layers is white ink, but also clear ink, because clear ink can be made into gloss or matte and can be used in a lot of different ways. So keep that in mind as I go through these samples, because white helps, but clear helps too. We have both on this printer, and both are arranged in a way to allow you to be productive. That is, you can get some speed on all of this so you can get these jobs out the door and you can make a happy customer. So let's start with the easiest layer application there is, which is using clear. This is a Lintec material, and let's use clear to print just white ink. Now, my example here isn't great, but I have just white printing onto clear. Here's what we do with just white that I think is different. What we do is you can print 5% or full saturation with this UV LED printer, and everything is going to dry. You do not have speed restrictions because you're putting more or less white ink down. You can put 100%, you can put 5%, 50%. It's all the same to this particular 330 printer. So if you want to print white with gradients and film all sorts of different flourishes and in different patterns and put it onto a clear or a frosted, which is very common in Windows, absolutely. 100% great product. So let's move on real quickly because there's a whole bunch to go through. So here's the next step that you're likely to do. Now this is a combination of things. This is actually using white as a spot color and putting white behind color so that you can print and then put it in a window. And then you're going to have areas where it's just white, and you have areas where white is behind color, and now the color is showing through with excellent opacity. This is a technique that people use all the time. It's very widely used, and that is a two-layer white. That is a two-layer white on a clear. So you're going to lay down the, usually in most cases, not always, but usually you're going to mirror it, put the CMYK down first and put the white behind it. That allows it to go on, say, for example, the inside of the window. But your mileage may vary. It depends on the application. But here's something cool that we do really well. This is a black wallpaper. It's got a gray back, but it's black. This is not ink. This is the actual wall covering. Now what we're doing is we're putting white underneath what really is some very nice, bright, fluorescent-y colors, and our opacity on the white is so good that allows those colors to resonate. There's a lot of people that try to put white down and put color on top of it, and it looks all washed out and muted. Not with this printer. You can put opaque white down and get great color pop printing on black wall covering. There's all kinds of materials out there that are colored materials. In that case, it's white, usually very opaque, followed by color on top. And you could even do white flourishes like we do right there. That's all done with white ink. That's pretty cool, and it's effective. Not many people and not many technologies can do that. Next up, we have something else which is kind of interesting. This is a great effect, and they're doing two things here. I like this kind of printing a lot, because what this is using clear film, where you're doing a combination of white behind the color in some areas that's going to give you much greater opacity, and then letting the full translucence of the color in other areas. So you get this blend of opacity and translucence, and it creates beautiful stained glass type designs. This is the kind of stuff that I use in my home on a lot of my windows for privacy, while still having sunlight coming through the translucent materials and having it more transparent. And then other areas you're going to have white with opacity. You could even use white in spot colors in this kind of effect, and it would look really cool. That's a nice looking print, and whoever did that, high marks on creativity. Then you have other cool stuff, because now we're going to get into the clear. Clear can be used as gloss, or it can be used to create layers and sort of an impasto technique. You know, almost we call it 2D effect. This is a particular image that's printed onto a heavyweight wall covering, and there's also very fine stars all around it done in clear. And the clear are glossy. So now you have a beautiful image on wall covering with glossy stars everywhere. That is a design effect that could be used to tremendous advantage by designers, where you're going to do this beautiful matte wall covering, but little parts of it will have embellishments in gloss. Very, very nice. Nicely done. Now there's two other types of layers that you can do on this printer. You're getting the idea. Oh, let me show you another while I'm here. I'll show you another beautiful use of a technique of a layering process that we have that is unique to this printer. The layering process on this printer is a texture. Now, watching this on film, you can't quite capture it all, but we have this beautiful image, and every bit of this has a highlighted, heavy impasto texture. Because the way they built this is they use the clear ink, they let it be matte, they let the ink be matte, and it raises up this whole thing. So now when you touch it, you realize this whole thing is highlighted and it has a raised image. That's what we call 2.5D texture. And it's unique to Mimaki, and we have different ways you can do it. You can do it either in software like Illustrator and Photoshop, or you can do it right in the Mimaki software that comes with a printer. Since I'm mentioning the software, the Mimaki Rasterlink software supports all of this, and it supports it very easily, because we know where you want results, and we build the software that's directed to these kind of multiple layers. 2.5D, a feature of this printer that's unique to us, that was taken from our flatbeds and migrated over here to our roll-to-roll printers. I have two more left, and they're pretty cool too. This is something that I had never heard of before. It's called 4-layer. I thought, what's 4-layer? I've never heard of 4-layer. Well, here's what 4-layer is. It's an image that on the front side has one look, and on the back side is sort of an indication of what's going on. Because what happens is when you have it in something like a light box, like here, you see this with the wings having colors and everything on them. But when you would turn the light box off, you wouldn't see that. We're using the black layer in order to achieve effects that can't be done any other way. It allows you to use illumination to see things one way and non-illumination to see things another. Many people have used the light is off and it gives one effect, and then the light is on and it gives another. That has been used creatively in many applications, some of which are kind of proprietary, but you're going to start seeing more of that because we can use the black layer along with layered white to create an entirely new way of printing, and that's going to give designers a lot of reach and inspire a lot of really cool ideas. So you heard it here first. Now here's the last layer, and this is the last one I want to kind of show you. What this is where you're printing one image on one side, one image on another, with total opacity so you don't see the image bleed through. This is called 5-layer printing. What 5-layer printing is you're printing with CMYK first, and then you're laying down a complete white layer, then you're laying down a black layer, then you're laying down a white layer again, and then you're laying down another CMYK. The black layer blocks everything out, the white layer backs it, and then because we have excellent white, the opacity allows you to print beautiful looking images onto clear and see it on both sides. Okay, that's sort of the holy grail of window printing for a lot of people. I want the image on the inside, say one thing, image on the outside to say another, but I have it on the inside so the people outside can't damage my print. Pretty cool, huh? And with classic LED UV, excellent scratch resistance, excellent scuff resistance, excellent UV resistance. I mean, it's pretty much print it and install it. And the way you install it, you don't have to take this into some delicate flower. It's durable, scratch-proof, resistant UV. Those are completely our layering process. Just with this particular printer, and it's a roll-to-roll printer. Our layering is exceptional. If you want to do just white, absolutely. White first, white second, white 3-layer. Our backlit, for example, backlit is a traditional 3-layer. What we do is we print CMYK, then we print white, then we print CMYK again. That's a traditional 3-layer backlit where you're going to get really good color pop when the light is on, and then when it's off, it's still going to look quite good and not terribly oversaturated, like if somebody didn't use a white layer and just put a whole bunch of CMYK ink. Looks horrible with the light off. But with the 3-layer, when you use that white layer, it looks better with the light on than just heavy saturation, and it also looks pretty good when the light is off. Those are your layering. Let me close here and show you something really cool, because on the one hand, I like really fine whiskeys, and on the other hand, they were able to print with white, just white, onto these bottles. Now in this case, this was direct printed because Mimaki has so many different technology platforms that we can print on all kinds of things, direct or indirect. But you could also print on a really good film, a really good optically clear film with this printer, and then apply it to this, and you really would hardly even see that film. Our white ink is excellent. It has fantastic opacity. The clarity is there, the detail, and we use very fine print heads to achieve it. Hopefully that little layering end to end was able to have you understand just what you can do with this printer, and the rest of it is just pretty much up to your creativity. You apply all those parts in interesting ways, and if you got really good in designing with white ink, man, people are going to pay attention, because it's going to be the types of prints that nobody has seen before. And that's the kind of thing that attracts designers. It's the kind of thing that attracts customers. It's the kind of thing that attracts people to go, how in the world did you print that? That's really cool. And that's what we try to do with our layered technology.